Our top story tonight. Did President Obama accidentally slip and fall and detonate 15 nuclear warheads? Find out more coming up here on I Know Lots in the Propaganda Zone. That probably shouldn't be called the Propaganda Zone, but anyways, thank you for joining me tonight here on the Propaganda Zone. I'm host Star Hollywood, here giving you the news that the rest of the news agencies don't want you to hear. Our top story tonight. Did President Obama accidentally slip and fall and hit the button that detonates our nuclear warheads? We're gonna bring you that information coming up real soon. You can't turn this channel. You're gonna want to find out more about that. This will affect your future, and it'll affect if you're alive or dead or all that. More headlines. Did NASA discover life on Mars? Intelligent life? Find out more. The story that NASA told us not to report and told us is completely false. Find out more about that coming up. The infamous Bat Boy, pure fable, or is it actually a reality? Find out the story that the tabloids didn't want us to report on. Was George W. Bush the mastermind and pilot behind the 9/11 attacks? Find out the breaking story that we've uncovered, and as we interview Dick Cheney, only here on I Know Lots, the Propaganda Zone. Did the Founding Fathers worship God or the Baals? Child sacrifice, pagan festivals, idol worship. Was that all part of the Founding Fathers' plan? Find out more on the I Know Lots Propaganda Zone. You know, that name is really kind of misleading. It sounds like we're acknowledging that we are a propaganda machine. Luke?
Well,
he's
that
on the
was
field.
how you referred to the show in meetings, so that's...
First Thanksgiving. Get back to the Propaganda Zone here. The first Thanksgiving. First Thanksgiving. Thankful feast are nothing more than an antiquated Star Trek convention. Find out more about that confusing teaser here, only on I Know Lots, the Propaganda Zone. Jackson hot dogs, a topic close to our hearts here at I Know Lots. Delicious or pure poison? Find out more here, only on I Know Lots. A meteorite containing President Obama's birth certificate just discovered? Find out more, only here at I Know Lots, the Propaganda Zone. Join me now as we go and find out more about... Oh, one more. Carl Slover, one of the last Munchkins, died this week at age 93. Accidental... I don't know what this says. Only 4 Munchkins left. We must protect them. Find out more about how we can do that here on the I Know Lots Propaganda Zone, which isn't really propaganda. It's more of a news thing. Join me as we step into the Propaganda Zone headquarters. Theme music. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm Star Hollywood, lead contributor here at the I Know Lots News Propaganda Zone. We have quite a few stories here we're covering at the top of the hour tonight, coming to you live as always. Our special correspondent, Luke Christinger, is in the field tonight, so he will be joining me as we bring you the latest updates and the latest news on all these breaking stories. First, to our top story. I can only stand this one. First, to our top story. Luke, I'm actually going to go to you now. Can you hear me out in the field?
Yes, I can hear you. I am in the field right now.
You are in the field right now?
I'm in the field. I'm standing in a field.
You're standing in the field. Can you describe the field?
The field is, well, it's dark. You know, I can barely see my hand in front of my face. The ground is moist, and there are frightening sounds coming from the woods.
Moist grass?
I'm sorry?
Is it a moist grass area?
It is moist grass, yes.
Okay. Fascinating. So now we're bringing the American people here the top stories of the hour that only we are addressing here. None of the other news networks would even go near these stories as they're potentially false. Our top story, Luke, I want to get more information about this. I know you've been tracking this story all decade. This is the story, that doesn't make sense considering what I'm about to say, but this is the story about President Obama. Did he accidentally slip and fall today and detonate 15 individual nuclear warheads? Luke, what do you know about that?
Well, I'm here in Washington, D.C., and I had just spoken to members of the Obama cabinet, and
they confirmed that 15 or 14 or 15 have been released?
Well, they told me, well, they used some rather derogatory language and called me some rather derogatory names and told me to look outside and they said, do you see any mushroom clouds in the sky?
And how many did you count? Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 15?
Well, what I discovered was that this was in fact a rumor that Obama had slipped on some coffee, but he really just got a slight bump on the head.
So the initial slip and fall was they slipped on the coffee. That's what caused him to hit the buttons. I'm assuming they're big red cartoon-style buttons that detonate the nuclear warheads.
What I'm told is, well, actually, what I was told was that it's actually completely classified as to the method or procedure as to where the president would authorize the use of nuclear force, but he was actually in the kitchen when this fall occurred, so there was no button around the general vicinity.
Well, okay, that's a poor reflection on upon our research for our top story. But Luke, anything else you can say? Were there nuclear warheads maybe from another leader in the government or some other government that were detonated today?
There are rumors of that Iran is attempting to build nuclear weapons.
Okay, that must be what I was talking about. So we weren't false after all. Okay, Luke, we have a bunch of stories to cover. Thank you very much. I'm going to go to a different story now. I'm going to go back out to the field, actually. Intelligent life on Mars. This is something that many people have been talking about for many years now. Intelligent life out there. Aliens, call them whatever you want. We're going to go to Luke Christinger out, actually in outer space right now. He's in the field. Well, more of the galaxy. He's hovering in a NASA rocket right now. What can you report from Mars, Luke?
Well, I'm looking down.
Looking down at Mars or at the Earth?
On Mars, and what I'm told is that we apparently the devices, the instruments that the NASA has in the spacecraft.
Yes. They discovered how many different individual species of intelligent life?
To date, they have found none. Part of the problem might have been that they sent me alone in the craft, and I don't know how to actually read the instruments, but
or read in general.
No, not very well. And when I've been reporting back to from what I've been reporting back to them, I say, well, the dial is red or the dial is green, and they say, well, this means that there is no intelligent life on the planet.
Okay, well,
it's unfortunate.
Godspeed
it's going to take me
coming
several years
back
to get
to
back
our planet, and if you don't make it, then can I have your stuff that you left here in the office? Okay, I think we lost connection with him, and I think he said yes. Anyways, we want to move on to our next story. Now, this one hits really close to home for a lot of us. The infamous or famous Bat Boy. As many of us have seen, the grotesque and horribly disturbing image of him, this freak creature that just holds a very dear and cherished place in the hearts of us as Americans. We've seen his picture in the tabloids at the end of the supermarket aisles. He's been reported to be real. He's been reported to be false. We're going to bring you the inside scoop on the infamous Bat Boy tonight. Let's go to Luke Christinger. He's standing in a grocery store aisle near one of those tabloid sections. Luke, what can you tell us about this Bat Boy? Have you met him? Have you met his family? How real is this?
Well, I was just reading an article in one of the tabloids here, and a man walked up to me, a very intelligent man who turns out to be a college professor, and he said, "What are you reading that garbage for?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he explained to me that the news reported in tabloids are mainly false. That
yeah. Maybe the other tabloids. This is a story that was broken from Weekly World News. You know?
Yes, Weekly World News, although the title of the paper does suggest that it is a newspaper, it is in fact a paper full of rumors and speculation.
Well, I mean, we get accused of the same exact thing here on I Know Lots, and our track record speaks for itself. We're the ones that broke you the top story of the 15 nuclear warheads going off today. We've predicted the end of the world happening at least 17 different times. We have said a lot of things that we've said a lot of things. I'll just end it with that. Okay. So Bat Boy, I'll just, for all intents and purposes, we'll say it's very real, and that was a good story that we broke. Luke, I want to cover something with you, actually, if you can stay on the line here. Are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, actually, I'd rather talk to somebody else about this one. We're going to break a story here that this is going to shake the foundation of the country that you people are in, that I don't happen to be in right now, the United States of America, my former country that I am a fugitive from. George W. Bush, former president, we're breaking a story tonight that he was the mastermind and possibly pilot behind the 9/11 attacks. We're going to bring you none other than Dick Cheney on the phone so that we can set the record straight. We're going to go almost to the source, as close as we could get, as obviously George W. Bush did not want to comment on this story, especially to I know lots, he said. I believe because he's scared that we might have uncovered a truth here. Let's put Dick Cheney on the line. Luke, we'll have you stand by.
Yeah, okay.
Let's put Dick Cheney on the line here, and we're going to ask him straight up about this story.
Yeah.
Mr. Cheney?
Yeah, who is this?
This is Star Hollywood from I Know Lots.
Yeah.
We're breaking the story about George W. Bush being the possible mastermind and pilot behind the 9/11 attacks.
That's a bunch of hooey.
I'm
done with this. Conversation is over.
Okay. Are you there? Luke, come back on the line here.
Okay, yep. I'm here.
So Cheney confirmed the accusations?
I believe what he said was that this is a bunch of hooey and that the conversation is over. I believe the word hooey is meant to mean, hogwash or
dung. So basically, what facts have you uncovered? I think your team is the one that brought me this story. What have we actually uncovered about this story?
Basically from the metal, the metals that the buildings were made of, we can tell about at the speed that they melted that George W. Bush was definitely not one of the pilots of the planes. Although there are a few minutes during the period of the attacks from when the plane struck to the time when all three buildings were completely collapsed, that there's some unaccounted time for George W. Bush, but we actually just discovered that he was in the bathroom for those 3 minutes on Air Force One.
I thought he was in a school. So even you can't get the facts straight, so the story still is out there.
Well, he was at a school when the attacks began, but then he was quickly taken to the airport and put on Air Force One.
Report here. Hold on. Luke, we're going to have to shift gears, and I'm getting a breaking report here from the people at the Flat Earth Society. Okay. We're actually getting confirmation from the Flat Earth Society that the Earth is actually flat and not a sphere, not round. Luke, what can you tell us about this report from the Flat Earth Society?
Well, I can tell you right now my rocket's coming back towards Earth. I'm looking down at a sphere, and that the Earth is not flat.
As president and chairman of the Flat Earth Society, which I've served on for over 5 years now, I can tell you that we have many statements from our members that say the Earth is flat. So how can you argue against 2,000 people that say the Earth is flat?
Well, I can only tell you what I'm seeing with my own eyes. And
the story stands. We're running short on time. We're just going to do one more story here. We're going to go with the one I didn't cover earlier. Do new reports show that a good diet and exercise are hazardous to your health? Find out the story that doctors warned me not to share. Luke, what can you tell us about this?
Well, it has been found that exercising too much, more than about an hour a day, can be harmful to your health. Running too much, you can get something called runner's knee. You can do damage to your hips. And over dieting also can be hazardous to your health. But yes, any sort of moderate diet. So all
exercise and good dieting is actually hazardous to the person's immune system and health.
No, well, any normal level of dieting where a person is eating a good amount of fruits and vegetables a day and not too much red meat is actually good for your health. It lowers the risk of cardiovascular disease, and as well as exercising has this effect as well as also some mental health benefits.
Okay. Okay. We're going to exit the propaganda zone and shift gears. Luke, do you think you can make it over to the studio for this next segment?
I am in a jet right now, and we're heading right towards the airport.
I need a little help. I actually just put 3 lollipops in my mouth during this last segment, and it's getting difficult to talk. So if you can kind of come over and help me get through this next segment. Thank you so much for joining me here. Star Hollywood, host of Rhino Lots. Okay, don't put that up yet. I wasn't ready to do that. Hernandez. Jeez. Okay, let me take my seat here. Somebody get out here and adjust the camera. This is terrible. I want to share something as Luke joins us here. Oh, it's getting really hard to eat these 3 lollipops at the same time. Let me tell you something, people. We've lost a true legend this week. Carl Slover, one of the last surviving Munchkins that starred in the Wizard of Oz movie. He died this week. My Einolot's field crew, led by Luke Christinger and other militiamen, are investigating his death right now to see if he was murdered by... what are you doing here? No, you can stay. Thanks for being out in the field.
Yeah.
You know?
The field was quite
it was dark, and then
well, there's a lot going on out there in the fields.
And before you rudely interrupted me, I was just telling the people out there that love me about Carl Slover.
Yes.
You know? Mm-hmm. Was he your godfather?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, wait. He was my second uncle.
What does that mean?
I don't know. My parents never explained that to me. They simply said, he's your second uncle. So I assume that he was an uncle that came after another uncle. It's just like Terminator 2 is the sequel to Terminator 1.
That opens up some vortex time-space issues that we can delve into in the next segment.
Exactly.
Possibly if we have time. I just wanted to say this one thing. My jaw is really starting to hurt because of the 3 lollipops. I'm not sure why I did that. Doesn't make any sense, really. The thing I want to say about Carl Slover is there's only 4 Munchkins left alive since he was potentially assassinated by the U.S. government. Now, here's what I'm calling the American people to do. This is a call to arms. This is a call to action. This is a call to extreme and radical behavior. It's for the common good of man. It's for the common good of the planet. It's for the common good of, I don't know, whatever else. We need to protect these 4 remaining Munchkin little people. I said Munchkins before.
I believe that's what they're called in the film, so they must have...
Okay,
that must be
Munchkins,
what they are.
Little people. There's 4 left, folks. We need to do everything we can possible to keep them alive. We must lay down life and limb. We must sacrifice everything that we can possibly sacrifice. There's no cost too great. There's no price that's too great to pay to... Don't do that. This is our Saving Private Ryan moment, but this is real life, just like the movie, the documentary Saving Private Ryan. We need to keep these 4 little people, Munchkins, alive, no matter what it costs us. No matter how many other lives are lost. Do you agree with that, Luke?
Absolutely, completely, 100%.
Thank you. Now, was that so hard? All those fights we had about saying that?
I just couldn't get the words right, that's all.
Oh. I'm starting to choke on these. Do you want
I have to go to the bathroom, sorry.
Okay. I was just going to offer you my lollipops. Did you want my lollipops?
Oh, no, I'm okay. Thank you.
Well, now that you went to the bathroom, maybe you have more space for them?
No.
Okay. Anyways, What's the next segment, Luke?
The next segment is the origins of phrases, what they don't want you to know.
And by they, we mean?
Everyone, except us.
Except us. Even possibly you, though.
Even possibly me. It's that extreme of a...
It's getting very hard for me to talk, actually, because some of the jagged edges from these lollipops it's kind of cheap material. They're digging into my gums. Anyways, let's do this segment. Can you explain to the people what we're doing, or do you have any idea?
Well, basically, we're explaining to people how some of these common phrases originated in time and space.
Or outside of time and space.
Exactly. Like blast from the past.
Let's get into that one in a minute. That one's so mind-blowing that I think the people's minds will be blown by that one when I share what their true meaning is. Basically, the show's I Know Lots, folks, and as you all know, I share my wisdom with you guys. I share reality, facts, hard evidence with you guys. So I'm going to share the actual origin of these phrases as I wrote my thesis on each one of these phrases actually. So I'm kind of an expert of sorts. Why don't you share the phrase, Luke? Tell the people what it is, and I'll explain the true meaning.
Between a rock and a hard place.
I've actually never heard that before.
Me neither.
Next.
Blast from the past.
I said we're not going to start with that one.
But, well, okay.
I've never heard the first one.
Break a leg. Break a leg.
What? What did you say to me?
Are
you
that's
a threat?
That's a phrase. And what it means is, it means...
No, you're not going to say what it means.
Oh.
Wait, what do you think it means? This should be funny.
Well, it means that when you go out on stage, you're supposed to the first time you do a comedy routine, you're supposed to go on stage and bring your baseball bat and break one of your legs.
Remember I tried
People
that?
will think that's very funny.
Remember I tried that, and for some reason it got written up in the paper as like tasteless and disgusting act.
Yeah, it was odd because most other comedians, that's how they get their start. They're very successful after
by the
that.
phrase. I did some in-depth research, a thesis on the phrase, and every comedian that's actually been successful has started with that routine. My first job as a comedian was for a local daycare. I was supposed to bring a lively... They told me it was more of a clown kind of a thing, but I thought maybe I could do some stand-up comedy. So I figured that was a good opening into stand-up. So I went to the daycare, and there's a lot of toddlers and preschoolers and stuff. I did the baseball bat thing. Didn't take the first time, which was awkward. But
it was still funny, though. I mean, I thought it was funny.
It took 5 or 6 different bashes. Finally broke the leg. I was screaming.
That was a good one.
It was pretty good.
The
kids hated it.
Children don't understand humor, or clowns. Hold your horses.
Hold your horses actually comes, it's a phrase of antiquity. It's from when horses used to be very, very, very tiny, back in the early days of life.
Yes, I've seen pictures of them. They're...
No, this predates pictures.
Oh.
Two-face. Basically, you used to be able to hold horses in your hand, and thus you could hold horses.
I wish that I could have some horses to hold now.
I can make some arrangements for you.
Well, once NASA finishes the time machine, I will go back and get some of my own horses, miniature horses.
Yep.
Tail wagging the dog.
Tail wagging the dog is actually, I don't want to scare any viewers out there. This is more of a cultish practice that I don't condone, but sometimes dogs, when they get heavily involved in the occult, no, it's okay. Sometimes the manifestations of that can actually make the tail take over control of the dog. This is purely for sinister, evil dogs, like the old Yeller dog that had to be put down, stuff like that.
No, that one's over. The tables have turned.
The tables have turned. Obviously, this is a phrase that was coined in the movie Rush Hour 2 by Chris Tucker. Good friend of mine. I actually invented the phrase, and one night we were hanging out together, and I said, Chris, I made this phrase. It's called "The Tables Have Turned," and then I actually had a table right here in front of me. I flipped the table over. There was a hairline fracture that occurred in his skull, but then when he came out of the coma, well, it was actually in a doctor-induced coma. When he came out of it, I felt a little bit bad, and I said, you can have this phrase, Chris. And then obviously that was on the posters for the movie, and sometimes I just get lonely.
And apple a day keeps the doctor away.
You didn't hear what I said at the end of the rant?
Yeah, well, the coma, and then...
and then I get lonely sometimes, but nobody cares. Even though I'm a popular TV guy, everybody loves me, but... Okay, next one.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
You already said that. That's the second time you said that.
Don't make a mountain out of...
Wait. So you said it twice, and then we're not even going to do it?
It's just a phrase that
Why don't you take this one, since you've
okay.
already gone over it? I know what it means.
So let's break it down. An apple, an apple, a day keeps the doctor away. What this is saying is that if you
remember, this is a phrase that they don't want you to know the meaning of.
Yes, and the reason is very important because it.
And we're not into conspiracies at all.
No.
Never have been, never will be.
But basically what this means is that if you see a doctor eating an apple, then you should run away.
That's actually...
that's one of them.
That's a secondary meaning.
Secondary meaning.
Yeah, that's
but the first meaning...
Well, back in the 17th to 18th century, what people would do is they would have a basket of apples in their house that was specifically designated towards keeping the doctor away. When you would see a doctor pass through town, on his carriage or just walking through with his walking stick, you would go to the basket, you'd call the family, kids come, take the apple, and then you would hurl them at the doctor so that the doctor wouldn't come to your house, because doctors back in those days were actually more of doctors of death, more of what we would consider the Grim Reaper. So you would take the apple and you would throw them at the doctor and hopefully, injure or possibly take care of, for lack of better terms, the doctor permanently. Death. You'd kill the doctor with
You can only fight fire with fire. I mean, it's not...
fire apples were very popular. If you
Yes.
could dip them in some sort of a propane or whatever the equivalent was back then, and you'd throw the flaming apple at the doctor. Maybe have one of your children throw some sort of lighter fluid kind of thing. So upon contact, I don't want to say anything too damaging to our viewers. They were used to kill the doctor.
Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Basically, it comes from the time when, basically, the way all the first mountains were built was from molehills. They would take dirt from every molehill and then keep building it up in one location until you had a mountain. And one day,
like the Mount Everest.
Yes, exactly, was made from molehills. And then one day, someone said, "This doesn't make any sense." That's when they.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did a thesis on this, of course. Then they said it doesn't make any sense, and that's why.
That's why they say don't make a mountain out of a molehill.
That's why they say don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Stop, you keep interrupting me. Sorry. Do we have time for two more, real quick ones?
Bury the hatchet.
That's possibly from when people would bury the hatchet into somebody's skull.
Well, I always bury my hatchets in the ground. But you could also throw a hatchet into the ocean, and it would sink to the bottom of the ocean. And
Over time, Sam might cover it.
Well,
so it might be buried.
It was rumored that mermaids would pick up the hatchets, then storm and then take over ships, kill the crew with the hatchets, and then
that's why you don't want to bury
the hatchets in their skulls.
Oh, that's where I got that from. I knew I got that from somewhere. I read that. I think that was in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
that's the plot. That's the plot from The Little Mermaid. Duh.
It's a great movie.
I love that movie.
Blast from the Past is another one.
Last one. I think I need to go to a doctor right after we film this because of the This is really cutting into my teeth. I have a lot of internal bleeding right now. Blast from the past, obviously, people, you got to listen to this because this is a real thing that happens. A blast from the past. This is when a Terminator robot comes from the past into the future. Okay, this is a forward-moving time machine, possibly built by John Connor. The Resistance movement. They're going to send a Terminator from the past into the future. They're going to be carrying some sort of explosive devices, some sort of nuclear warhead type of a thing, like we were talking about earlier, and they're going to blast everybody.
Yes, exactly.
This has happened countless times in our civilization's future. We just haven't experienced it on the timeline yet. But this opens up a lot of time travel questions about if there is time travel with Terminators, as we do know. Why haven't we seen it yet? Because we should be experiencing a lot of time travel already. That's what
I can't think about that.
Let's just end this program. I need to get to the doctor or dentist, possibly. Your choice where you want to bring me this time. I know I'm going to be up all night thinking about this blast from the past phenomenon. It's just quite a thing. The whole system of time travel and Terminators blasting from the past is just crazy. And I hope you guys are up all night thinking about it too. I am just lonely, though.